of the spinal cord. Okay, so later in the afternoon, you will discuss with Dr. Matthews the ascending tracts of the spinal cord. Take note, class, ha? Ano kayo ngayon? Asynchronous, both both skills lab and laboratory time. So you have enough time to study this week because you have your shifting exam on Friday, which will be at 6 o'clock p.m. Ang hirap i-schedule ng shifting exam nyo. Ilang beses natin pinostponed, okay? Kasi nga, natatamaan yung face-to-face, natatamaan yung ibang subjects anyway. So, you have enough time to study this week, okay? So again, descending tracts. We have two types of tracts in our spinal cord, the descending and the ascending tracts. When we say class descending tracts, these are motor tracts. Descending, pababa. So meaning from the cortex, from the higher center, from the brainstem, from the cerebellum going down to the spinal cord. Descending tracts are motor tracts, while ascending tracts, which we will discuss later with Dr. Matthews, these are the one that goes up to the higher center. Ascending tracts, class, are sensory tracts, okay? Sensory tracts. Am I clear? Okay, so if you want to do an action, you want to reach for that water, descending tracts. Pag napasok kayo, ano yung init? Ascending tracts yun, sensory. Diba? Tama? Ha? So pag iniisip nyo, I want to text, descending tracts. You will move your extremities, your pag yun nga, napaso, fire, or ascending tracts. So those are sensory tracts, okay? So you know the difference between the ascending and the descending tracts. These are our objectives for the descending tracts. We will discuss the pyramidal from the extrapyramidal tracts and discuss some common clinical manifestation affecting the descending tracts. So again, descending tracts, class, these are motor tracts. They are located at the white matter of the spinal cord. Again, they originate at the higher center, the cortex, the brainstem, the cerebellum, but they are found when it goes down to the spinal cord, they are found at the white matter of the spinal cord. And again, descending tracts are motor tracts, okay? So they are concerned with somatic and visceral motor activity, and they regulate the lower motor neuron activity, okay? So just to review, you have here the cortex. Because as I've said, the corticospinal tract, which is the pyramidal tract, which is one of the descending tracts, most of them originates at the cerebral cortex. Okay, primarily, what part of the cortex do you think? Ano ba yung motor ang function ng cortex? Saan ba? What lobe? Is it the frontal, parietal, temporal, or visual?
Frontal lobe.
The frontal lobe. So most of your corticospinal tract class originate at the frontal lobe. You have here the primary motor and the association motor cortex, but a little bit, around 1/3 originates at the primary somatosensory area, which is located at the parietal lobe, which we will discuss it later, okay? So that is the cortex. You have the different lobes of the cortex. This is a distorted picture of the body. We call this class the motor homunculus. Okay, it represents, the cortex represents various parts of the body, okay, devoted to their control. So you can see, class, here that the face is situated on the inferior part of the hemisphere, and the one that controls the lower limb, the extremity, the lower extremity, they are situated superiorly, okay, and medial surface of the hemisphere, while the one that controls the upper extremity, the hands, the digits, the fingers, they are located in between. Okay, nandito siya sa middle part of the hemisphere. So again, we call this distorted representation of the face, of the body, rather, the face, the body, that is class the motor homunculus. Have you seen this before? Nakita naman na ito, no? Okay, so this is the spinal cord. We know that the spinal cord, it has the white matter and the gray matter of the spinal cord. You have here at the middle portion, the H-shaped gray matter of the spinal cord. It is surrounded by the white matter of the spinal cord. So again, at the white matter of the spinal cord is where you'll find the different tracts. You have here the ascending and the descending tracts. So take note, class, for the descending tracts, most of them are located at the lateral and the anterior white column of the spinal cord, while the ascending tracts are located at the lateral and the posterior part of the white column. Okay? So in your laboratory, in your Moodle, I posted there PDF file of the location of the different tracks as well as their function. Okay, yung mga major tracks lang, major tracks lang natin. Okay, so this is again the white matter and the gray matter of the spinal cord. So this is the gray matter of the spinal cord. This is the connection. We call this the gray commissure, and at the center is the central canal. Of course, at the gray matter class, you have here the anterior horn and the posterior horn. The anterior or the ventral horn is what is again the function? Is it for motor or sensory?
Motor.
Motor, very good. While the posterior horn is sensory in function. So everything above the anterior horn, that is part of upper motor neuron, and the one that leaves the spinal cord now, class, is part of lower motor neurons. The lower motor neurons are the alpha and the gamma motor neurons. I will show it to you later. So again, everything above the anterior horn is part of the upper motor neuron, and when it leaves the spinal cord, it is now part of lower motor neuron. Those are your spinal nerves. How about in the brainstem? When it leaves the brainstem as the cranial nerve, that is again part of lower motor neuron. When it is located within the brainstem at the cranial nerve nuclei, that is still part of upper motor neuron. Okay, so upper motor neuron class, it is a motor system confined to the central nervous system. So nasa loob siya ng central nervous system. Again, upper motor neuron is responsible for the initiation of voluntary movements. Okay, so nasa loob siya ng central nervous system. It originates from the cortex, cerebral cortex, brainstem, down to the spinal cord. And the lower motor neuron class begins here at the spinal cord, at the anterior horn of the spinal cord, to go down to innervate, or it leaves the spinal cord to innervate the effector organs. What are the effector organs? Of course, you have your muscles and the glands. Okay, muscle for contraction, glands for secretion. Okay, these are your efferent neurons. Lower motor neurons are efferent neurons. So again, the upper motor neuron, which controls voluntary motor activity, are entirely located within the CNS. Okay, the cortex, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. While the lower motor neuron, it innervates your effector organ. As I've said, when it leaves the anterior horn of the spinal cord, you have now two types of lower motor neuron, the alpha and the gamma motor neuron. Okay, the alpha motor neurons, it innervates the extrafusal muscle fibers. They are fast conducting compared to the gamma motor neurons, which innervates the intrafusal muscle fibers, causing isometric contraction. Ano bang sinasabi nating isometric? It doesn't parang move. Isometric, when you do that, when you flex kang na ganyan, when you contract in position, that is isometric contraction. So that is the function of the gamma motor neurons. Okay, they are fewer compared to the alpha motor neurons. Okay? So the intrafusal, as you can see, they are buried in the muscle. Okay. So again, the upper motor neuron, everything inside the CNS, and when it leaves the spinal cord, that is now part of the lower motor neuron. Do you understand me, class?
Yes.
Huh? So these are the manifestations of the upper and the lower motor neuron lesion. Of course, both of them, class, will manifest as weakness because they are motor in function. So you have here weakness in the upper motor, weakness in the lower motor neuron lesion. Okay? The type of weakness in the upper motor neuron lesion, usually they are spastic paralysis. While in lower motor neuron lesion, parang floppy, flaccid paralysis, okay? Paralysis. Atrophy are mostly present in the lower motor neuron lesion as well as fasciculations, okay? There is increase in tone and reflex in upper motor neuron lesion compared to lower motor neuron lesion, okay? So again, atrophy is more prominent in lower motor neuron lesion. You will only have upper motor neuron lesion atrophy in case of disuse atrophy pag hindi pa niya ginagamit. Okay? So again, these are the manifestations of between the upper and the motor neuron lesion, lower motor neuron lesion. Okay, so neurons of the descending pathway. Do you understand, class? You get the difference?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay, so neurons of the descending pathway, we have the first, the second, and the third order neuron. The first order neuron, usually they are located at the higher center. Okay, the higher center, the cortex. Okay, the second order neuron are located at the spinal cord, at the anterior horn of the spinal cord. They are the ones that connects the upper from the lower motor neuron lesion. So we call this second order neuron as the internuncial neurons or the connecting neurons. Okay, so again, they are located at the anterior gray of the spinal cord. Okay, so the third order neurons, class, they are the lower motor neuron. That is the one that innervates the effector organs. Okay, they are again located at the anterior gray of the spinal cord. Okay, so these are the descending tracts. They are mainly classified into pyramidal and extrapyramidal tracts. Okay, lesson class. When we say pyramidal tracts, they are involved in voluntary movements. Okay, the pyramidal tracts are further divided into your corticospinal and corticobulbar tracts. Okay, so why do we call these voluntary tracts as pyramidal tracts? Because they pass through or they decussate at the level of the pyramids, which is located at the medulla. So yan yung mga dumadaan sa pyramids. If you still remember our medulla oblongata, the swelling on the anterior part of the medulla is called the pyramids. Dumadaan doon ang ating pyramidal tracts. Unlike the extrapyramidal tracts, they do not pass through the pyramids. Kaya extrapyramidal siya. Okay? Extrapyramidal tracts, they are involved in involuntary movements, posture, balance, reflexes. Okay? Clear ba tayo doon? Itong extrapyramidal, hindi dumadaan sa pyramid. Pyramidal tracts, dumadaan siya sa pyramid of the medulla. Am I clear, class?
Yes po.
Okay. Okay, now, this is again the different location of our descending tracts. You have here at the lateral white column, the lateral corticospinal tract and the rubrospinal tract, and the anterior white column, you have the anterior corticospinal, the tectospinal, rubrospinal, and the vestibulospinal tract. We will discuss the function later one by one. Okay, so the pyramidal system. The pyramidal system. Again, your pyramidal system, those are your corticospinal and corticobulbar tracts, okay? The components of your pyramidal system are your corticospinal and corticobulbar tracts. So from the name itself, corticospinal, it means it originates at the cortex going down to the spinal cord. Corticobulbar originates from the cortex going down to the brainstem. Remember when we discussed the brainstem? Bulbar, okay? The brainstem. Am I clear? Okay, for the corticospinal tracts, axons, or it originates from the axons of the pyramidal cells of the cerebral cortex. Okay, so I guess you've already had your lecture regarding the histology of the CNS. So dun siya sa fifth layer of the cerebral cortex, the pyramidal cells. So again, majority of your corticospinal tracts originates here at the frontal lobe, at the primary motor, and the secondary motor cortex. Brodmann area 4, Brodmann area 6. Okay, so 2/3 originate at the frontal lobe, 1/3 from the primary motor cortex, another 1/3 from the supplementary motor cortex. And a small part, 1/3 originate here at the parietal cortex, at the primary somatosensory area, which is area 312. Am I clear? Ha, class? Yes?
Yes po.
Okay. Now, from the cortex, the fibers, the tracts, the descending fibers from the cortex converge now to form the corona radiata. Okay, so the corona radiata, ayan, oh, para siyang corona. It will converge to form the corona radiata. Then they will pass through the internal capsule, specifically the posterior limb of the internal capsule. Ha, class? Posterior limb of the internal capsule. Am I clear? From the posterior limb of the internal capsule, it will now go through the brainstem, specifically the first part of the brainstem, which is the midbrain, the cerebral peduncle of the midbrain. So from the cortex, it will pass through the posterior limb of the internal capsule. We've just discussed the internal capsule last week. You have here the anterior, the genu, and the posterior limb. Look at the posterior limb, class. The cervical area, the upper portion of the limbs is represented here near the midline, while the leg, the trunk, it is represented at the lateral part of the posterior limb. Okay? Clear. Now, from the posterior limb, class, it will pass through the midbrain. Specifically, we've discussed this when we studied the brainstem, the cerebral peduncle. Okay, middle 3/5 of the cerebral peduncle is occupied by the corticospinal and the corticobulbar tract. Okay? Yes, class, you still remember? You have here the frontopontine, the temporopontine. So, dun sa peduncle natin, that is again, the importance of your peduncle is for the passage of the motor tracts, if you still remember. Do you still remember? Section boy? O nawala na? Naintindihan pa ako? We are discussing the course of the corticospinal tract, class. Now, from the midbrain, it will pass now through the pons. Of course, midbrain, pons, medulla, di ba? So, ano? Part ng pons. You remember the transverse fibers of the pons at the basal part of the pons, at the anterior part of the pons? Diba you have here many striations? So there, it will pass through the transverse fibers. So this tract from the midbrain, from the crus, from the cerebral peduncle of the midbrain, it will pass now to the transverse fibers of the pons to be broken down into several bundles. Okay? So from this pons, it will now pass through the medulla. Kaya nga siya pyramidal tract, dadaan siya sa pyramids ng medulla. So the swelling of the pyramids of the medulla is due to the presence of your corticospinal tract. Am I clear? Section B. You
Yes po,
still...
Doc.
Okay. Now, from the importante to class, napakasarap aralin nitong descending and ascending tracts. Okay? So, pag nandyan na siya, dumaan na siya sa pyramid. If you still remember, class, the sections of the medulla, you have the pyramidal decussation at the inferior part. The majority of your corticospinal tract from the pyramid will decussate on the opposite side at the pyramidal decussation. Okay? at the pyramidal decussation. Yung mga fibers na yon, that is again the pyramidal decussation. So majority, 80% of your corticospinal tract will decussate, will cross on the opposite side at the pyramidal decussation as the lateral corticospinal tract. Again, majority, 80% will cross as the lateral corticospinal tract. 10% remained uncrossed as the anterior corticospinal tract, and there are also 10% uncrossed lateral corticospinal tract. So look at the location of the lateral corticospinal tract. When it crossed the medulla to go down to the opposite side of the spinal cord, it is located at the lateral white column. While the anterior corticospinal tract, the 10% that remains uncrossed, will be located here at the anterior white column of the spinal cord. Okay, so again, 80% will decussate on the opposite side as lateral corticospinal tract, 10% remained uncrossed as the anterior corticospinal tract, and some fibers of the lateral corticospinal tract will again go down on the ipsilateral side of the spinal cord. Okay, so majority will decussate on the opposite side as the lateral corticospinal tract. You get me, class? So the decussation happens at the medulla, at the pyramidal decussation. So this lateral corticospinal tract supply all level of the spinal cord, meaning it supplies the cervical, the thoracic, the lumbar, the sacral. This one controls the limbs and the digits. Am I clear?
Yes po.
Yes. While the anterior corticospinal tract, that is the 10% of uncrossed corticospinal tract from the pyramid. It is only, or it comprises only 10%. That is the anterior corticospinal tract. It will go down at the anterior white column of the spinal cord on the same side. So where is the decussation? Saan nangyayari yung crossing? At the level of the spinal cord. So these fibers will cross the white commissure and go to the anterior horn on the opposite side. Okay, this one is only found at the cervical and at the thoracic level. So therefore, this one controls the trunk muscles only. Okay, so again, lateral corticospinal tract, all level of the spinal cord, anterior corticospinal tract, cervical and upper thoracic only. Okay, this one, anterior trunk muscle, lateral corticospinal trunk, digits, and limbs. Okay? Decussation of the, okay, we'll show you this one na lang. Meron pala ako nito. So, decussation of the lateral corticospinal tract happens at the medulla, specifically at the pyramidal decussation, while the decussation of the anterior corticospinal tract happens here at the level of the spinal cord to go to the other side at the other anterior or contralateral anterior gray horn of the spinal cord. Am I clear, class?
Yes.
Yes po.
Yes? Naintindihan? Ha?
Yes po.
Yes po.
So this is the anterior corticospinal tract. It goes down on the same side. So this is where the decussation happened. At the white commissure, then it will go to the anterior horn to innervate the lower motor neuron effector organs. Okay? So dyan yung decussation. Unlike the lateral, which decussates here above or at the level of the medulla, the pyramidal decussation of the medulla. Okay. So the function of your corticospinal tract, it adds speed and agility to conscious movement, especially the movements of the hand, and provide a high degree of motor control for the movements of the individual fingers. So let's analyze this, okay? So if you have a lesion above the level of the decussation, we are talking about the lateral corticospinal tract. So above the level of the decussation, is that an upper or lower motor neuron lesion? Class. Ha? Section B.
Upper po.
Upper motor neuron lesion. Where will be the manifestation? On the same side or the contralateral side?
Contralateral.
Very good. Contralateral side. Because again, this one innervates the contralateral side. How about here? After the level of the decussation, below the level of the decussation, is this still an upper or lower motor neuron lesion?
Lower.
Is this lower or upper?
Upper po. Upper.
Upper pa rin because it doesn't leave the spinal cord. So this one hanggang cortex, this is still part of upper motor neuron. So where will be the manifestation here? Will be on the same side or opposite side?
Opposite po.
Opposite. Opposite ba? Look oh, decussate na siya. So where will be the manifestation?
Same side po.
Same side.
Nag-decussate na siya. So, same side. Okay? So, here, when it leaves now the spinal cord, is this an upper or lower motor neuron lesion?
Lower.
Lower. Very good. So, where will be the manifestation? Same side or opposite side?
Same side po.
The same side. Very good. What will be the manifestation if it is a lower motor neuron lesion? You will have
Flaccid paralysis po.
flaccid paralysis, you will have hypotonia, hyporeflexia, atrophy, correct? Tama, di ba? So this is a case, this is a penetrating injury. Sabihin nyo na 40 years old, nakipag-away, lasing, shoot, natamaan, sinaksak, natamaan ng ating spinal cord. Okay, so this one, this is below the level of the decussation. Will this be, where will be the manifestation? Will be on the same side or opposite side?
Same side po.
Same side. What will be the manifestation? Is this an upper or lower motor neuron lesion?
Lower motor neuron.
Are you sure it's lower motor neuron? It's located here.
Upper.
Upper. Don't get confused, class, ha? Nandito pa siya sa lateral white column of the spinal cord. So this is still part of upper motor neuron. Pag nandito na siya sa anterior horn, going out to the spinal cord, that is now class lower motor neuron. You get me, class? So everything above, here, dito sa white column ng spinal cord, sa medulla, sa cortex, that is class upper motor neuron. Okay? So pag nag-leave na siya as spinal nerve, as peripheral nerves, that is now lower motor neuron. Am I clear, class?
Yes po.
Yes. Nakuha. So, if it is an upper motor neuron, what are the manifestation again? You will have
Spastic paralysis.
spastic paralysis, you will have hyperreflexia, hypertonia, di ba? Tama ba? So again, this is an upper motor neuron lesion. The manifestation will be on the same side, and these are your manifestation. You have weakness, which will be manifested as spastic paralysis, hyperreflexia, hypertonia. Babinski, have you heard of Babinski reflex? So that is usually present in newborn. Okay? Kaya pag newborn, ginagawa natin yung Babinski reflex. So when you stimulate the medial to lateral aspect of the sole, what will happen is magfa-fan yung kanyang toes. So that is the positive Babinski. Dapat nawawala yan when the child grows older. So dapat nga, I think by 6 months, dapat nawawala na yung Babinski reflex. I'm not sure about the months, pero dapat nawawala yung Babinski reflex. So if it is still present, pag naging present siya at our age, so you know that there is a lesion, upper motor neuron lesion. Am I clear? So clonus, yun yung, so when you, kunyari, when you give resistance and when you release, yung paulit-ulit na ganun, that is clonus. Okay? So you will learn that in IPD. Am I clear, class, regarding this slide? You get me, class?
Yes po.
Yes, clear ha? Clear tayo before we proceed. Clear. Okay, now we go to the corticobulbar. So this one, this innervates the face, the cranial nerves. Of course, the termination are the motor cranial nerves, okay? Cortex, meaning from the cerebral cortex, it will go to the cranial nerve nuclei, which is located at the brainstem, meaning it is located at the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla. Since we are talking about the descending tracts, we are targeting the motor tracts, okay? So the corticobulbar tract, again, originates at the cortex, primarily at the cerebral cortex, but some, like the facial nerve, some of the upper end of the face, they originate at the singular gyrus of the cortex. Okay, you've already known the singular gyrus. Okay, we've discussed it last week then. So again, corticobulbar from the cortex, it will now pass through the internal capsule via the genu. Dito naman ngayon, genu of the internal capsule, the corticospinal posterior limb, corticobulbar, the genu. Some fibers will pass through the posterior limb. Okay? So again, same course as the corticospinal. Kaya nga pareho silang pyramidal tract. Even if the corticobulbar doesn't reach the pyramids. Okay? Hindi naman siya nagre-reach eh. But since it has the same course as the corticospinal tract, they are collectively known as the pyramidal tracts. Am I clear? Class?
Yes po.
Section B. Aralin nyo to, class. Napakagandang aralin nito. When you go to neuro, pag naintindihan nyo yung descending, ascending tracts, matutuwa kayo to be able to identify kung saan yung mga lesions na yan. Okay? So again, same course as the corticospinal tract, from the cortex going to the internal capsule, but this time, class, corticobulbar passes, majority of the corticobulbar passes through the genu of the internal capsule. It will go down to the midbrain, same at the crus cerebri or the cerebral peduncle of the midbrain, at the middle portion. Okay, then it will pass through the pons to reach different pons and the medulla to reach different motor cranial nerve nuclei. So here, class, look, so they again terminate in the motor nuclei at the trigeminal, at the facial nucleus, at the hypoglossal, and the nucleus ambiguous. Again, cranial nerves 9 and 10 for swallowing, phonation, etc. Okay, so here you can see this is the right side. Aralin natin tong slide na ito, class. Itong picture na to. This is the right side and the left side. So take note, class. The mastication or the trigeminal motor nucleus receives bilateral. It receives innervation from the same side and it receives innervation from the opposite side. Okay? Nakuha yan, class? Yes? Class, you have to understand this para alam niyo yung mga lesion. Section B. Hindi kayo maglalad hanggat hindi niyo ito naintindihan. Section B. Yes, no? Ala.
Paulit po yung...
Okay. Okay lang ipaulit, ha. So here, yung primary motor area natin, di ba dyan nag-originate ang ating corticobulbar tract? When we say bulbar, it innervates the brainstem, the motor nuclei of the brainstem. So one of the motor nuclei is the trigeminal motor nucleus, which is responsible for muscles of mastication. So you can see, class, that the trigeminal motor nucleus from the primary cortex, it innervates the same and the opposite side. Correct. Ayan, no, may branch sa same, kaya nga ipsilateral innervation yan. Kasi it innervates the same and some from the opposite side. Unlike the facial motor nucleus, specifically the lower half of the face, which receives only contralateral innervation. Take note, contralateral lang. It receives contralateral innervation, the lower half of the face. Am I clear?
Yes po.
Okay, contralateral, wala siyang innervation on the same side. X to X, only contralateral innervation, same as the hypoglossal nucleus, which innervates the tongue. It only receives contralateral innervation, meaning the right motor cortex innervates the left side of the tongue. The right motor cortex innervates the left lower half of the face. Am I clear?
Yes po.
Very good. Now, the upper half of the face, ito, upper half of the face, it receives bilateral innervation from the cingulate gyrus. Meaning, the right cingulate gyrus innervates both the right side and the left side of the upper half of the face. Correct? Ha? Yes. Okay. So this picture, let's study this picture. As I've said, the lower half of the face is innervated by the contralateral cortex. While the upper part of the face, upper half of the face is innervated by the same and the opposite cingulate gyrus. Okay, clear? Section B.
Clear po.
Very good. So what happens now? O, idodrawing ko na lang. Baka, then we'll discuss this. This is the cortex. This is the cingulate gyrus. This is the motor nucleus, the cranial nerve motor nucleus. This is the upper half. This is the lower half. This is the face. You have here the upper quadrant, lower quadrant. Okay? Yes. So this is again the right, left motor area. So ano ba yung sinasabi ko? The right motor area, primary motor area will innervate the opposite. Pupunta siya dito sa lower part of the face. Correct. So if you have a lesion here, upper motor neuron lesion here, where will be the manifestation on the opposite side? Diba? Okay. But look, class, at the cingulate gyrus. The cingulate gyrus, as I've said, will innervate the upper half of the face, will get innervation from the opposite and the same side of the cingulate gyrus. Tama? The upper half of the face will receive innervation from the opposite and the same side of the cingulate gyrus. Am I correct, class? This is the right cingulate, this is the left cingulate gyrus. Correct?
Yes po.
Okay, so what happens now? If I have a lesion here, is this an upper or lower motor neuron lesion? Hindi pa siya lumalabas sa cranial nerve nuclei nyo. So this is still an upper motor neuron lesion. Correct? Where will be the manifestation? It will only manifest on the opposite lower quadrant. Bakit? Because you have innervation on the same side of the upper quadrant from the same cingulate gyrus. Am I clear? Ha, section B.
Yes,
Clear.
po.
But
Yes,
if you
po.
have a lesion now here at the cranial nerve, it leaves na the brainstem. Now you have here a lesion at the cranial nerve, the 7th cranial nerve. Where will be the manifestation? Both upper and lower quadrant of the same side. Ha? Tama. Because wala ka ng innervation dito, wala ka ng innervation dito. So the manifestation will be weakness on the upper and the lower quadrant of the same side. Okay? So when you see a patient, hindi makapikit, yung shallow yung nasolabial fold mo. So that is a lower motor neuron lesion. That is usually called Bell's palsy. Same side yung affected na facial nerve. But if you only have a lesion, if you have only weakness here, yun yung nagsasalita, nakaprotrude yung tongue on the weak side, yung nagdudrool yung saliva dito, but they can blink their eyes, they can move their eyebrows. So that is an upper motor neuron lesion. Usually stroke yung mga patient niyan on the contralateral side of the brain. You get me, class?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Naintindihan na? Ha? Clear? Clear? Yes, okay. So here, same as the hypoglossal nucleus, the tongue muscle. Okay? So as I've said, it receives contralateral innervation. Tama. So here, this is the right side. Okay? Or left side. So this one, upper motor neuron lesion here, it will innervate the opposite side. So when that patient protrudes his or her tongue, it will deviate on the weak side. Okay? But if it is a lower motor neuron lesion, it will deviate on the same side. Weak side pa rin. Okay? Yes, nakuha?
Yes po.
Okay. So that's it. Okay, nakuha. So upper motor neuron lesion opposite the side of the side of the lesion, while lower motor neuron lesion towards the side of the lesion. Am I clear, class? Yes? Okay, now we clear ba tayo doon sa ating corticospinal and corticobulbar?
Yes po.
Yes. Now we go to the extrapyramidal system. Again, extrapyramidal system, they are involved in voluntary movement for maintenance of equilibrium, coordination, posture, muscle tone, or reflexes. Again, extrapyramidal because they do not pass through the medullary pyramids or the corticobulbar tracts. These extrapyramidal tracts are the reticulospinal, vestibulospinal, tectospinal, rubrospinal, and olivospinal tracts. Okay? So again, they originate at the higher center, but mostly at the brainstem, at the vestibular nuclei, the tectum, the red nucleus, and the inferior olivary nucleus. Okay? So involuntary movement. First, from the descending extrapyramidal tracts are the reticulospinal tract. If you still remember, class, the reticular formation, ano lang sinabi natin sa reticular formation? They are found all throughout the level of the brainstem. But this reticulospinal tract specifically arises from the pons and the medulla. When it arises from the pons, it is known as the medial or pontine reticulospinal tract. Look at the drawing, class. It originates here at the pons. It will descend on the ipsilateral side, same side at the anterior white column of the spinal cord as the medial reticulospinal tract. While the medullary or the lateral spinothalamic tract, it will descend bilaterally. At the lateral white column, that is why it is known as the lateral reticulospinal tract. Again, pag medial, pag pons, galing sa pons, medial reticulospinal tract because it descends near the midline. While the one that originates here at the medulla is known as the lateral or the medullary reticulospinal tract because it descends bilaterally and it is located at the lateral white column. Okay? Yes? So the medial reticulospinal tract facilitate extensors while the lateral medullary reticulospinal tract facilitate the flexor muscles. Okay? The reflexes. Am I clear, class?
Yes po.
Yes, okay. So you have to let me know kasi sayang kung hindi nyo ito maintindihan. This is very interesting. Ewan ko baka sa akin lang. Tectospinal tract. From the name itself, tectum. You've heard of the tectum when we study the brainstem. So this one originates at the tectum, specifically at the superior colliculus of the midbrain. If we say superior colliculus, what is again the function of the superior colliculus?
Visual po.
Visual po.
Visual. Very good. So look at the tectospinal tract. From the superior colliculus of the midbrain, which is located at the tectum, it will immediately cross on the opposite side. Nag-cross agad siya on the opposite side to go down at the anterior white column of the spinal cord near the midline. This tectospinal tract terminates at the upper cervical segments of the spinal cord. Hanggang dun lang siya sa upper cervical segments of the spinal cord, and this is concerned with reflex postural movement in response to visual stimuli. Again, the superior colliculus receives visual information. Therefore, the function of the tectospinal tract is it is concerned with reflex postural movement in response to visual stimuli. Am I clear?
Yes po.
Okay. Now, the rubrospinal tract. This one originates at the red nucleus. Where is again the red nucleus located, class?
Level of superior colliculus.
Yes, of the midbrain. Very good. So the rubrospinal tract is located at the midbrain, specifically at the level of the superior colliculus. So from the red nucleus of the midbrain, look, it will immediately cross on the opposite side at the lateral white column of the spinal cord near the lateral corticospinal tract. So your rubrospinal tract, class, is found at the lateral white column. Again, it is located beside the lateral corticospinal tract. It immediately decussate or cross on the opposite side. The rubrospinal tract, class, is very important in controlling the flexor muscles. The flexor muscles. Rubrospinal tract facilitate the flexor muscles. Okay? Yes, correct? So here, rubrospinal tract facilitates the activity of the flexor muscles and inhibits the activity of the extensor muscles. So listen, class. Okay. So if you have a lesion at the cortex lang, but you still have the function of the rubrospinal tract, do you think the patient can still flex? Cortex lang. You have here the cortex, you have here the midbrain. You only have the lesion here, but your midbrain, your brainstem is still intact. You still have the rubrospinal tract. Do you think the patient can flex?
Yes,
Yes
po, no?
po.
Yes, and we call that posturing decorticate posture. Decorticate posture. So when a patient goes to the ER, biglang nahimatay yung patient, hindi makapagsalita. Okay, so na-stroke yung patient. Okay, so we see that the patient went to the ER, there are some flexion. May mga flexion pa siya. Naka-flex pa yung upper extremities niya. So, maybe the patient had a stroke. Cortex lang yung affected, but the brainstem is still intact because yung posturing niya, may flexion pa siya. We call that decorticate posture. Cortex lang, decorticate. But if the patient went to the ER, lahat extended, hindi na siya nakaka-flex. We call that decerebrate posture. Maybe the patient have a lesion at the cortex and at the brainstem, which involve the rubrospinal tract. Di ba? Tama ba ako? You understand?
Yes po.
Yes. Okay. So again, decerebrate posture, there is a lesion or the brainstem, the upper part of the brainstem, which includes the rubrospinal tract and the cortex, may be affected when the patient exhibits mostly flexion in posture. Okay? Yes? So this is the decerebrate and the decorticate. Look at the cortex is only affected. You still have your upper brainstem. There are still some flexion. But if there is a decerebrate posturing, meaning both cortex, upper part of the brainstem, which includes your midbrain, which contains your rubrospinal tract, there might be a lot of extension happening. Okay? Yes? Naintindihan, class?
Yes
Ha?
po.
Yes, very good. Okay, now vestibulospinal tract. You know that the vestibular nuclei not only for hearing but also for balance and of course for the activity of the extensor muscles, the anti-gravity muscles. For the vestibulospinal tract, of course, it originates at the vestibular nuclei, okay, the vestibular nerve. And it descends at the anterior white column of the spinal cord and synapses to the extensor muscle. So again, vestibulospinal tract involved in maintenance of upright posture. Okay, so there are two vestibulospinal tract. We have the lateral and the medial vestibulospinal tract. Of course, if it's the lateral vestibulospinal tract, axons originate from the lateral vestibular nucleus. Here is the lateral vestibular nucleus. This is the this is the pons and the medulla. Again, di ba na-remember nyo the vestibular nucleus, it is located at the pons. Some part extends to the area of the medulla. So the lateral vestibular nuclei here at the pons, that is where your lateral vestibular tract originate, or we call that the diateres nucleus. Okay, so it receives afferent or sensory information from the utricle. Okay, so this one, the lateral vestibulospinal tract, facilitate the extensors and inhibit the flexors. This one is important for maintenance of balance, upright posture, anti-gravity muscles. So you can see here from the utricle, it will go to the lateral vestibular nuclei to innervate the same side of the body. Okay, there is no decussation happening, only the ipsilateral side. Am I clear?
Yes po.
Yes, while the medial vestibulospinal tract is formed from the axons of the medial, lateral, and inferior nuclei. So this one descends ipsilaterally near the medial fasciculus. Okay, so it receives information from the semicircular canal. This one, the medial vestibulospinal tract, controls the movement of the head with respect to auditory and visual stimuli. Lateral, posture, balance, equilibrium. Medial vestibular nucleus or tract rather controls movement of the head in response to auditory and visual information. So this is the medial vestibular nucleus. So you can see class from the semicircular canal, it will go to the vestibular nuclei. You can see class, it has a bilateral innervation. So it innervates the opposite and the same side. But take note class, the ipsilateral projection is more dense or more prominent compared to the contralateral. Therefore, mas ini-innervate niya yung same side of the body. Okay? Yes? Yes? You understand?
Yes po.
Okay, so very good. So what happens, class? If you have a damage in the vestibulospinal tract, you perform a Romberg sign. So what happens? If the patient closes his or her eyes, nag-sway siya, positive vestibulospinal tract damage. Tama ba?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Oh, where will the patient fall? Doon ba sa weak side or doon sa strong side? Of course, sa weak
Sa weak
side
side.
because ipsilateral innervation siya, di ba? But what happens if clinose niya, nag-sway siya? Anong nangyari pag inopen niya, nagsisway pa rin siya? Is still vestibular lesion? Is it still a vestibular lesion? Open na yung eyes niya. You have the stimulus na. Open na yung eyes niya but still the patient sways. Is it vestibular lesion still?
Cerebellum.
Cerebellum na po.
Very good. Cerebellar lesion. Very good. Naiintindihan niyo. Ang dami niyo natutunan kay Dr. Cyrus. So, pag ginopen niya yung eyes niya, nag-sway pa rin siya. That is a sign of cerebellar lesion. Okay? Very good. Now, we go now to the olivospinal tract. Olivospinal meaning it originates at the inferior olivary nucleus of the medulla. So look at the olivospinal tract. It immediately crosses the opposite side. This one is found on the cervical regions only, and it is for reflex movement arising from proprioception. Okay? So, yung iba nga sinasabi, baka hindi ito nag-i-exist, itong olivospinal tract nyo, sabi sa libro. Now, lastly, among the motor tracts are the descending autonomic fibers, which originates from the cortex, the hypothalamus, the amygdala, and the reticular formation. So, this one crosses the midline, and it terminates at the autonomic center of the lateral gray columns. Okay, so you know that if it is autonomic, you have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. If it is sympathetic, it is located or terminates at the the thoracic and upper lumbar, and parasympathetic mid-sacral. So this table summarizes the different tracks. Okay. Now, for the lesion of the tracks, extend tayo ng 5 minutes. Konti-konti lang. So, you have here 3 involuntary movements. You have this dance-like chorea, the hemibalismus, yun yung flailing movement, and the atitosis, parang siyang worm-like. Okay? So when we say chorea, class, this is a fast involuntary movement characterized by irregular and flitting movements of the limbs and axial musculature, which includes the muscles of the face, jaw, and tongue. That is chorea. Para siyang dance-like, involuntary movement. While hemibalismus, that is a violent flailing chorea of the limbs on the opposite side, usually involving the proximal muscle. So, even wala siyang ginagawa, minsan bigla siyang mag-flail ng movements. Yan, matatamaan kayo yan. That is non-purposeful. Okay? Bigla siyang mag-flail ng extremities. Aray, sumakit agad yung shoulder ko. Atitosis, this is a slow, breathing-like movement, twisting, para siyang worm. Have you seen a leech? When you put a salt, di ba parang siyang nagre-breathing na ganon? That is like atitosis. Okay? Parang worm-like yung movement niya. Slow compared to the chorea and hemibalismus, which is fast. Again, all of them are involuntary movements, which signifies a lesion at the extrapyramidal tracts. Okay? Okay, so these are the difference between the chorea, balismus, and atitosis. Again, chorea and balismus, they are rapid, involuntary movement compared to atitosis, which is a slow, involuntary movement. Okay, so they are non-purposeful, and chorea is more on distal extremities, while balismus proximal. Okay. So atitosis has a propensity of affecting the upper extremities compared to the lower extremities. Okay? So do you have any questions, class? Huh? None. You understand?
Yes po.
Naintindihan ba? Okay, turn on your cameras. Nandiyan